Hello and welcome to another lecture of the course Aquaculture. Today we are going to talk about sustainable aquaculture, the concepts and challenges of sustainable aquaculture. Before going into the details of sustainable aquaculture, we should know that what is aquaculture and whether by practicing aquaculture, the sustainability is challenged, sustainability of the system is challenged, whether the aquaculture we are practicing now is not sustainable. So all these things we can mm, understand before discussing the real challenges and how we can um, keep the aquaculture growing, still making it sustainable, keeping it sustainable. So the definition of aquaculture, we all know that we have discussed in quite detail that you know culturing of or farming of any aquatic organism, be it plants or any of the animals, that will be termed as aquaculture. Now, when farming is done, there is some sort of intervention in the rearing process to enhance production. You have to stock the fish. Even if you are going for extensive farming, in that also we go for stocking the young ones, maybe low stocking density, but still you need to stock. Or with the intensification of the practice, with the kind of aquaculture practice you are practicing, there may be different extents of feeding. You may need to feed the fishes with maybe live food production within the pond, maybe supplementing the food from outside, or maybe putting all the diet from outside only, artificial diets only. And there are many type of actions that you may be able to take for protecting them from predators, for keeping them healthy, for saving them from the poachers and all. So there are many kind of actions that you need to do in order to practice aquaculture, and in one way or the other, they all are going to you know put some kind of pressure on the surrounding environment, on the environment. So uh, um, that's how we practice aquaculture. We have to see that, okay, by practicing this we are putting some pressure on the environment, but whether practicing aquaculture is so important that we cannot do away with this, whether it has become so significant that there are no other alternatives to aquaculture in the current scenario, whether aquaculture maybe up to certain extent we can do aquaculture, and then we can get food supply from other sources, from other food production systems. All these things need to be addressed before taking many challenges. So one by one, we have discussed many of them earlier also, whether this aquaculture practice is really significant, really important to be make it sustainable, to continue taking care of this and depending on this for food production, for future good quality protein diet. In fact, if you see the uh, 2020, there is some. In fact, if you see the latest production figures globally, fisheries and aquaculture production surged to 223.2 million tons total, with 185.4 million tons from aquatic animals only, 37.8 million tons from algae. We know that algae are also part of um, aquaculture, and they are very important part of aquaculture. Of the total aquatic animal production, 89% was used for human consumption. Huge quantity. 89.89% was used for human consumption directly, equivalent to 20.7 kg per capita has increased in 2022. The rest went on non-food uses, mostly fish meal and fish oil. Even producing fish meal and fish oil, that is also very significant in the farming of other land-based animals. So that shows the importance or significance of this culture practice, that how this is contributing towards supplying food, towards other activities, towards farming of helping as a food ingredient, feed ingredient for farming of other animals, land-based animals. An estimated 61.8 million people were employed in the primary production sector, mostly in small scale operations. Among them, 24% of fishers and fish farmers were women. Now, see the significance of aquaculture industry or aquaculture sector in terms of providing two things. It is helping the marginalized people to improve on accessibility, that is related to food security, by generating employment, and it is also helping to produce food. So it plays very important role in removing hunger and poverty, that are major goals of the international agencies, where if you go through the sustainable development goals, SDGs, then this is the basic theme of all the SDGs, that we have to remove the poverty and hunger, and we have to make people food secure. So this industry is this sector is playing very crucial role in ensuring food security. Over 230 countries and territories, huge, were involved in the international trade of aquatic products. Now, it's not only that it's helping only marginalized people or in removing hunger and poverty, but almost all countries, you can say 230 countries, and territories were involved in the international trade of aquatic products. So there has been trade of aquatic products one way or the other from one country to the other, and reaching a record value of $195 billion. That is huge. $195 billion, a 19% increase from pre-pandemic levels in 2019. So aquaculture is one of those sectors which is showing tremendous growth for the last many years, and we still expect more to contribute to the growing human population in terms of providing enough good quality, good protein diet, and also providing people with employment, so that there is food security among all sections of the society across the globe. In low and middle income countries, the total net trade, and this is again interesting, this is happening more in the low and middle income countries. The total net trade of aquatic products reached $45 billion, greater than that of all other agricultural products combined. So that's why, if you remember that I talked about aquaculture, role of aquaculture as a food production system. There we discussed about how fast this aquaculture food production system is growing, and how important this sector is in providing food and in generating employment. So global capture fisheries production remains stable. This is also one of the important aspects, that we cannot depend on the capture fisheries anymore. Still, marine capture fisheries providing huge quantity of fish, especially from the marine sector. If you say, then we are getting capture fishery production is quite significant, and it is for the first time that aquaculture has crossed the capture fisheries data. Global capture fishery production of aquatic animals has fluctuated between 96 and 94 million tons since the late 1980s. If you can recall, then we discussed about the data from FAO, the SOFIA 2024 report, that they capture fisheries production, whether from inland or marine areas, that has almost stagnated. So there is little fluctuation. People are working on improving the status of capture fisheries production, but we are not getting very good results. Maybe if we keep on taking actions, appropriate actions, then we can improve. In 2022, the sector produced 92.3 million tons, valued at $159 billion, comprising 91 million tons of aquatic animals only, 79.7 million tons caught in marine areas. Marine area is contributing hugely in this sector, and 11.3 million tons in inland, in addition to 1.3 million tons of algae. With a share of 43%, marine capture fisheries remain the major source of global aquatic animal production. So, still, the marine capture fishery is providing food very significantly, in a very significant share. 43% is very significant share, almost half. In 2022, global aquaculture production reached, this is quite commendable, 130.9 million tons has been produced from aquaculture globally in the latest report that you can see from FAO, valued at 312.8 billion tons. This comprises 59% of global fisheries and aquaculture production. The total of 59% of the global fisheries and aquaculture production has been provided by global aquaculture production only. Inland aquaculture contributed, we have discussed a lot that inland aquaculture has shown tremendous growth, contributed 62.6% of farmed aquatic animals. Inland aquaculture, most of the growth has occurred in the aquaculture sector is in the inland sector or freshwater fish farming that has been done in many parts of the world, especially in the Asian countries, many of the Asian countries. Marine and coastal aquaculture, however, contributed only 37.4%. But this is to me, this appears more as one of the positive points, that we have enough potential in the untapped areas, marine and coastal areas, and we can work on developing new technologies to exploit more from inland aquaculture. For the first time, aquaculture surpassed capture fisheries in aquatic animal production with 94.4 million tons, representing 51%. So, this is for the first time that production from aquaculture has surpassed the capture fisheries in aquatic animal production, and 51% of the world total, and a record 57% of the production destined for human consumption. That is again very significant, that majority of the aquatic food, aquatic animal products that are being consumed by humans, majority of them are coming from aquaculture. So that's how aquaculture is becoming very important. These things, whatever we are discussing now, they show that aquaculture is showing strong potential, and this sector cannot be avoided if we are serious to provide food and food security, ensure food security of the global population, and if we wish to, employment generation or good quality protein diet to all sections of the society, then aquaculture should continue the kind of growth it is showing today. The same growth, or maybe faster growth, we should be able to achieve in future as well. So how we can do that? That is the concerning point. Aquaculture remains dominated by a small number of countries with many low-income countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean not exploiting the full potential. So, these are some of the concerns that if we have to keep pace with the growth of the aquaculture, because that seems very necessary in order to feed the growing human population. So, we will have to, ensure that aquaculture continues to grow. How is that possible? We can make that possible by ensuring that while doing aquaculture practice, we have to utilize other resources as well, like we are utilizing water, we are utilizing land, we are utilizing many other resources, human resource as well. So whatever resources we are using in order to raise aquatic animals, these resources should not be overexploited, so that they remain available in future also for practicing the aquaculture and without harming the environment. So that is one of the basic concerns, and that we should learn from the capture fisheries also, that we overexploited many fish stocks from the natural resources like ocean and rivers also. And today there are many fisheries of many species, many fish stocks have collapsed. So that thing should be avoided. We should utilize the resources rationally, not only the target fish species or target aquatic species, but all the natural resources which are necessary in order to raise or farm that aquatic animal through aquaculture. So that is one of the basic concerns. And also we should also look forward in identifying the potential areas where aquaculture sector can grow, but is still, so far they have aquaculture growth has not been seen in those places. Like it is written here in the first point, that many countries like which are having potential for a good aquaculture production, like many countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean, have not exploited their full potential. So we should try to provide them the required technologies, the required know-how and awareness about taking up aquaculture at a large scale scientifically, and so that they can produce the aquatic products and contribute towards ensuring food security. Out of some 730 farmed species items, about 730 items are being farmed in aquaculture. Only 17 staple species represent about 60%. So it is quite natural. We in any case, when we get success with some species, then we continue to culture only that species. So there are 17 very important species which are contributing towards 60% of the global aquaculture production. And if you compare the data of FAO, latest data of FAO as available in the SOFIA 2024 report, then you will get to see that over years there are the top species in aquaculture production are almost same. So that is why they are contributing so much towards global aquaculture production, while other species are important at local level. So this thing is basically important in with the perspective of diversification of the candidate species for aquaculture. So we need to identify more and more candidate species in aquaculture. In 2022, global apparent consumption of aquatic animal foods reached an estimated 165 million tons, increasing nearly twice the annual rate of the world population since 1961. That we have discussed, that how aquaculture is growing and how it can contribute or help in meeting the food demand of growing human population. So this has the potential. That is again one of the reasons that we will have to continue with aquaculture, we cannot go away with this. We will have to continue with the aquaculture production, and we will have to ensure that the growth of aquaculture, as we are estimating the potential of growth, that should be, achieved. So the growth rate should continue um, at a faster rate, and we should be able to produce more food and generate more employment. Global annual per capita consumption of aquatic animals, if you compare data of 1961, we were having only 9.1 kg per capita consumption of aquatic products, aquatic animals, and in 2022 we are now at 20.7. So although it is quite old, 9.1 kg in 1961, and we are having 20.7 kg in 2022, but we are exploiting the resources, aquatic resources. So we have made significant growth in as far as aquatic per capita consumption of aquatic animal foods is concerned. Aquatic animal foods provide high quality protein, that we all know, 15% of animal proteins, 66% of total proteins worldwide, and key nutrients, omega-3 fatty acids, minerals, vitamins, that we have discussed in quite detail. Not only this, but the quality of the protein also, we have talked about essential amino acids and other things. Aquatic animal production is expected to increase by 10% by 2032. Aquatic animal production is expected to increase by 10%, and driven by aquaculture expansion and capture fisheries recovery that is being anticipated. It will reach 205 million tons, 111 million tons from aquaculture, and 94 million tons from fisheries. That has been anticipated, and we may achieve that. That is not impossible task. Up to 90% will be destined for human consumption at a rate of 21.3 kg per capita. So we are very close. We are showing good growth as far as our target is concerned of 2032. So we have shown very good growth, and if we are able to make the aquaculture operation sustainable, keep it environment friendly, then maybe we can have better figures than what is our target. Exports of aquatic animals products will grow, involving 34% of the total production in 2032, down from 38% in 2022. Sustainable aquaculture. Now come to the main topic. So far we have been discussing that is aquaculture really an essential practice that need to be continued in future also, in order to remove poverty or remove hunger, in ensuring food security. Now come to the sustainability of aquaculture, a system that allows for minimal resource consumption and environmental impacts while ensuring adequate food supply and efficiency. In fact, in simpler words, if it should be, the resources should be utilized rationally, scientifically, and efficiently, so that the resources are not exhausted for aquaculture practice in future. So that thing has to be ensured, and the United Nations adopted the SDGs. You must have studied about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, commonly referred to as global goals. In 2015, it was developed, and as a global call of action to eradicate poverty, safeguard the environment, and guarantee that everyone lives in peace and prosperity by 2030. SDGs are very popular. If you go through, I will show you somewhere in my later slides that what are different SDGs, and the integration of 17 SDGs. In fact, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals that were designed, acknowledges that development must balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability, and that actions taken in one area will impact results in the other areas. There, of course, you cannot think of isolated actions affecting only isolated regions or isolated areas. So, when one action is taken, then it should take a balanced approach, especially towards the environment, ecology and environment. These are the SDGs which are available on UN web page or other places also you can get. So there are 17 SDGs that have been stated. Number one, SDG 1 is no poverty. SDG 2, top SDG is no poverty, followed by zero hunger. Third, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, then climate action, life below water, the main SDG that concerns us, aquaculture and fisheries activities, is SDG 14. Then SDG 15 deals with life on land. Then we have peace, justice and strong institutions as SDG 16. And the last one, 17, SDG 17 is partnerships for the goals. So these are the stated SDGs. Now, whether aquaculture is able to meet any of these SDGs, or how aquaculture is contributing towards achieving the sustainable development goals. SDG aquaculture directly relates to some of the key SDG targets. For example, SDG 14 aims to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, a prime aspect of sustainable aquaculture. This you can understand that there are policies where we need to continuously monitor the stocks of commercially important fishery resources, and if we find that the stock of any commercially important aquatic species is showing fluctuations, and we are unable to get the required population growth, then we should take appropriate action. For example, for these things, what we need to do, we need to have continuous continuous process of sampling and collecting the biological data or updating the biological data, especially in terms of identifying the stocks. If there are different stocks developing, the stock structure of any particular commercially important particular species must be there, and we should be able to know that for any fish species, how many stocks are there in a given water body, what are different biological characteristics or population characteristics of those stocks, and what are the conditions in which these stocks perform best. So, based on that, we can take and we should also generate data on different population characteristics of that stock or the precious aquatic resource, and based on those population characteristics, we can keep on manipulating or devising new policies and strategies for ensuring that the population or stock of any concerned commercially important fish species or aquatic species is showing population growth, and it is not going towards threatened category and so on. So for that, for example, if we are catching fish too young, before it has reached age at first maturity, before it has contributed towards recruitment even once in the natural population, then we are going to harm the overall stock of that fish species. So that kind of thing we will have to ensure, and for this we require, you know, collaborative actions and planning of not only one stakeholder but many countries, many stakeholders are there which can contribute in achieving this SDG 14, which is very crucial. In addition, sustainable aquaculture supports SDG 1 that we have discussed, that no poverty. Aquaculture is contributing so much towards generating employment, especially for the marginalized people, the women, the people who have no access to get lucrative jobs in cities and all. You are providing the poor people an opportunity to earn money and get access to food. And SDG 2, zero hunger, you are producing through aquaculture, you are producing abundant food items, abundant aquatic products. So that helps in reducing the hunger and poverty. By helping reduce poverty and providing food for people respectively, that we have talked about. Naylor et al., the reference here it is given of 2000. Naylor wrote a very good paper in the journal Nature, where the researcher talked about the replacement of fish meal by alternative plant proteins in the inclusion of fish diets, because those fishes which are being used to prepare food for the fishes, they may directly be consumed by people. Maybe some poor people can consume the smaller fishes which are being used to prepare fish meal. The fish meal will be incorporated into the diet of some high valued fishes, and then those high valued fishes, when they raise, they will be again available for human consumption. So why go for this cycle? Provide this small fish to some needy poor people, and they can consume it directly. So consumption of fish is associated with health benefits, with rich protein, and contributes to healthy diets for both people and climate, that we have discussed earlier also, which relates to SDG 3. So see, we are directly related to SDG 14, we are contributing towards that in aquaculture, then SDG 1, SDG 2 and SDG 3 as well. Hence, best management strategies need to be devised based on thorough analysis of the current status of sustainable aquaculture production systems. Therefore, it becomes very important, very crucial to take care of the sustainability of the aquaculture operation, because we need this sector to grow further in future. So, sustainable aquaculture in action. From 2017, FAO worked with members to develop the first ever guidelines for sustainable aquaculture, GSA. This process included 7 regional consultations involving 120 members and 2 expert consultations. The guidelines as GSA, the Guidelines for Sustainable Aquaculture, were technically endorsed at the 12th session of the Committee on Fisheries Subcommittee on Aquaculture in May 2023 and submitted the 36th session of the Committee on Fisheries COFI for adoption in July 2024. So, this is a very recent activity that people are now having plans and working for ensuring the sustainability of the aquaculture. That is very important. The guidelines aim to provide guidance to members on the sustainable development of aquaculture, the fastest growing food production sector, consistent with the FAO 1995 Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries and the FAO Blue Transformation Roadmap, and in line with FAO Strategic Framework 2022 to 2031. So, steps are being taken. Overview of the guidelines. The guidelines for sustainable aquaculture comprise 3 sections. What are there in these guidelines? Section A describes the objectives and guiding principles of the guidelines. In the section A, the objectives and guiding principles have been explained. Objectives: providing normative guidance for sustainable aquaculture policies, enhancing food security and nutrition, improving socio-economic conditions for aquaculture dependent communities, and promoting the sustainable use of aquatic resources. All these are very important, you know. Guidance, normative guidance for sustainable aquaculture policies, how we should have these policies, enhancing food security and nutrition, improving socio-economic conditions for aquaculture dependent communities, and promoting the sustainable use of aquatic resources. Each of these is very important. Now, section B provides guidance for promoting sustainable aquaculture, focusing on who, what, and how to develop and implement effective policy and planning, and legal and institutional frameworks, and integrate aquaculture into public policies for food systems and economic development, considering an ecosystem approach to aquaculture. That is very necessary. If you will not consider it as an with an ecosystem approach, it is bound to fail. That is going to adversely impact the habitat. Manage natural resources and aquaculture operations sustainably, considering the ecosystem and the impact of climate change and natural disasters, conserving aquatic biodiversity. That is so important. Managing genetic resources, even aquaculture to continue need these things essentially for sustainable seed supply, supplying sustainable feed, and strengthening biosecurity and animal welfare. Each one of these steps are very, very crucial. They are going to influence the sustainability of aquaculture directly. Enhance social responsibility, decent work, youth employment, and gender equality, including women's empowerment in aquaculture. That will again contribute towards its sustainability if most of the sections of the society are associated with this one way or the other. Establish sustainable aquaculture value chains, transparent and predictable market access and trade, including reduction of aquatic food loss and waste. In fact, the transportation facilities, the market chain, should also be taken care of. That how we can make the harvest easy to move from the production source to the consumer very efficiently and without any spoilage. Section C provides guidance for supporting and monitoring the adoption and implementation of the guidelines, focusing on who, what, and how to establish mechanisms and services required to support sustainable aquaculture development, including funding and financing, research and innovation, communication, and capacity development. Develop implementation arrangements and technical support, and monitor and report on the implementation of these guidelines, as well as collect and analyze data on aquaculture development and performance. So, a very coordinated and integrated approach is needed in order to make it sustainable, and that is very necessary. We cannot do away with this. So, there should be those kind of actions. There are some very good initiatives. Aquaculture parks have been developed, a model for sustainable aquaculture production that has been shown. In aquaculture, Aqua Park, also known as Aquaculture Park, aquaculture cluster or aquaculture village refers to an aquacultural organizational model developed to support small scale aqua farmers throughout the value chain. So, that is one of the very good initiatives, and Aqua Park requires a specialized, well organized, and business oriented infrastructure and efficient and approved operational procedures. In general, an aqua park includes all the input supply chain facilities and logistics needed to provide seed. In general, aqua park includes the input supply chain facilities and logistics needed to provide seed, aqua feed, and technical services. Whatever is needed, that should be available. Production components, that is workers and production assets, and processing, distribution and marketing components. So, each component is very necessary, that we all know: traders, processors, cold storage, transport, and marketing facilities and logistics. Aquaparks have been introduced and established worldwide, but their model varies depending on local circumstances and needs and business objectives. An aquapark may include enterprises plus farmers, that is the basic stage, or enterprises plus cooperatives plus farmers, intermediate stage, or leading enterprises, demonstration sites, cooperatives, and farmers, that is advanced stage of aquaparks. Aquaparks are managed using a community-based approach to coordinate activities and professional support. Typically, a management team is responsible for coordinating and supervising production operations and supporting services. This approach reduces costs, creates synergies, and fosters development. Government authorities at local or national level often guide the planning, providing technical, financial, and policy support and incentives, both to attract public and private investment for infrastructures and access to inputs and resources, and to facilitate a business-oriented development of sustainable aquaculture. There is one such park that has been listed here, Maunan Tilapia Aquaculture Park. This Maunan Tilapia Aquaculture Park is located in Maunan District, Maoming City, Guangdong Province, China, and covers 30,100 hectares. So huge area has been covered in under Aquaculture Park. As of December 2022, this aquapark benefited 3,983 fish farming households and employed 12,617 workers, accounting for 73.45% of the total Maunan district aquaculture workforce. So you just see, don't go only with this number 12,600, but 73.45% of the total aquaculture workforce of that district. That is huge, 73%. The aquapark focuses on farming tilapia and has become an aquaculture industrial base in Guangdong province, producing 800 million high quality tilapia fingerlings on yearly basis. The annual aquafeed supply is 2,86,000 tons for an annual production of tilapia of almost 2,20,000 tons, generating an average yearly income of over $4,615 per capita along the entire value chain. That is very interesting. That shows the success of that aquaculture park. Almost 10% of the total aquaculture area is allocated for water treatment and purification, all the aspects you have to take care of, and various aquatic plants and filter feeders have been stocked and grown in surrounding water bodies, securing additional environmental benefits. This is a map of that Maunan Tilapia Aquaculture Park that has been shown here. You can see here water pump, grow out ponds, water supply, board stock pond, nursery, feed mill workshop, hatchery workshop, then service center, cold chain storage, processing workshop, processed tilapia, and nurseries. So almost all the aspects which are required they have been covered. Challenges for sustainable aquaculture development. What are the different challenges that we can cover up quickly? Supplying quality seed for aquaculture. The supply of adequate quantities of quality seed is critical to successful and sustainable aquaculture systems. The key elements of seed supply systems include species selection and diversification, effective and sustainable management and development of aquatic genetic resources, improved breeding technology, efficiency of supply chains. In fact, if we go to the earlier slide, the supplying quality seed for aquaculture, that is one of the prerequisites to start aquaculture. If we are not having good quality healthy seed that we have discussed while discussing the induced breeding one of my previous lectures, that ensuring the supply of good quality seed, healthy seed, in desired quantity, in desired numbers, at the desired time, that is essential. That is the first step to start aquaculture. And standardizing the hatchery technologies or breeding technologies of the candidate species in captivity, that is one of the essential steps we should provide. Whenever we are identifying any candidate species for aquaculture, we should go for standardizing the hatchery technology or breeding technology of that particular species in captivity. That is one of the basic elements. Then it's not only that, we have to diversify, we have to do it for a number of species, so that a number of species can be cultured in different diverse range of environments. And then we will have to work on ensuring the genetic diversity also, because that may pose problem in future regarding growth or disease occurrence. Then improved breeding technology, we should keep on working on this. Earlier we have been using pituitary gland, then we had to give inject the fish in case of female Indian major carps. I talked about 2 times, one preparatory and one resolving dose. But when we started using ready to use hormones nowadays, Ovaprim, Ovatide and other hormones, I talked about other ready to use agents, inducing agents. These inducing agents, when we are using, then we have to give only one injection to male as well as one injection to female. So, and that is quite efficient. We get good response, efficiency of supply chains. Then it is important to find a balance between the establishment of a new species for aquaculture, diversification, and the expansion and development of farm types of existing cultural species. FAO data indicate that countries are currently farming about 730 aquatic species, and this number is constantly growing. More and more number are being added, more and more number of aquatic species we are culturing. However, it is also apparent and that production is increasingly concentrated within a limited group of species. That is concerning. For example, the top 17 cultured species by volume represent 60% that we talked earlier also of global aquaculture production, and 46 species contributing 90%. So, even if you take 46 species, that is 2 less when we take total of 730 species. So, we should work on standardizing the culture technologies of all aspects, whether we are talking of reproduction, breeding or feeding. So, aquaculture for many species can be diversified and we can achieve good production figures. National aquaculture policies and strategies should take a holistic and balanced approach to species diversification, recognizing these multiple drivers, which include resource availability and allocation, climate change, impacts on aquatic biodiversity, aquaculture system development, market demand, and institutional factors. We have seen lately that aquaculture system development has contributed significantly towards increasing the aquaculture produce. In terms of species development, with the exception of a small number of well-advanced sectors such as Atlantic salmon or white leg shrimp, genetic management and improvement in aquaculture is still in their infancy. That is one of the very important crucial sectors that if we wish to achieve growth continuously, we will have to take care of the genetic resources. We will have to manage the genetic resources very well, and we will have to keep on improving the conditions so that there is no problems which can hamper the aquaculture growth. In fact, we can add one more species here, tilapia. Also, there has been a lot of work for tilapia also. People have worked, and we know the genetically improved farm tilapia that has also been developed. Effective or absent genetic management is commonplace and can result in loss of genetic variation, reduced performance due to inbreeding depression or hybrid introgression, and decreased potential for development of future farm types. The adoption of good genetic management practices in breeding systems is critical in order to retain over time the genetic variation that forms on the basis of species potential to adapt to changes and on which to build selective breeding programs. So, for some species to continue to contribute in future also, we need to have these kind of programs, genetic management improvement program and selective breeding programs. That is one of the essential aspects. Potential gains from selective breeding in aquatic species are thus highly significant, and consequently breeding programs can greatly enhance production efficiency in coming years, making significant contributions to the sustainable intensification of aquaculture production that we are doing at many places now. The development of aquaculture must be underpinned by a robust supply chain to ensure the constant supply of quality seed well adapted to prevailing farming systems, but with the capacity to adapt to climate change. This is one of the aspects, the climate change, that we should keep in mind while working for diversification or identifying new places for aquaculture to intensify the aquaculture practice. In aquaculture, only a few species have been fully domesticated, that is the full life cycle completed in captivity. Much of aquaculture is still largely based on wild source seed. That's what I talked about, that only identifying some candidate species, taking seed from natural environment, natural source, and culturing them in captivity, that is not enough. That will not ensure sustainability of that kind of farming practice. For that, we need to have well developed, standardized, scientific hatchery protocols or breeding protocols of that candidate species in captivity. That should be the priority area to supply seed at least first at the desired time whenever we need that, and good quality seed, healthy seed, and genetic management programs and selective breeding programs should also be taken for any candidate species that we wish to target. Using wild caught seed should ensure high levels of genetic diversity in cultured stocks and low risks for the wild population in case of escapes from the farms. In addition, especially if we are using exotic species, in addition to reduced operational costs for seed producers. However, this can also result in additional pressure to overexploit poorly managed wild stocks as well as in uncertain seed supply. When seed production is hatchery based, a wider adoption of genetic management and selective breeding programs can help enhance seed quality and address production challenges such as infectious diseases and climate change. That is, little easier to control. For example, if we are having hatchery based technology, then we can have many kind of manipulations at genetic level, or we can undertake selective breeding programs, and that can address challenges of many kind of infectious diseases, and even if we can develop stocks which can be raised in a particular climatic conditions. This requires adopting legal and institutional frameworks and effective certification schemes ensuring the quality of the broodstock used for producing seed. So, of course, legal frameworks and certifications and norms and regulations from the government agencies, that is the key point in ensuring the sustainability of aquaculture, because ultimately there must be some credible agency which can coordinate and keep check on all these stakeholders so that aquaculture remains sustainable and it continues to contribute towards food production. Pathways to effective aquaculture biosecurity and disease control. Pathogens and diseases that cause continue to be a major challenge for a sustainable aquaculture sector capable of reaching its full potential. That we all know, diseases are pathogens, and the kind of diseases they produce, that is one of the very important concerns. We have not forgotten the epizootic ulcerative syndrome. We have not forgotten the white spot virus disease. So, these kind of things keep on happening. We will have to ensure that such kind of attacks does not occur. In recent review, which came in 2023, Subhasinghe described the challenges of managing biosecurity practices in aquaculture as wide-ranging and multifactorial. 12 issues were specifically identified as requiring attention to design and implement efficient and effective biosecurity strategies and protocols. What are these 12 issues which require attention? Healthy seed. That is one of the key points, that if seeds are not healthy, they are not going to show good survival rate, they are not showing to show good growth rate, or they will not be very hardy to adapt to the changing conditions. Emergency preparedness and response, if some kind of emergent situation is there because of certain water quality problems or pathogenic attack, then we should be able to respond appropriately. Diagnostics must be there, appropriate and correct diagnosis. Diagnostics must be there. Microbial management at the production level, whatever the crucial places or crucial phases are there, we should manage that properly. Disease and pathogen surveillance, of course, surveillance is very necessary, and surveillance and what we call quarantine and other things that we can do. Trade, policies and regulatory framework, very necessary. Welfare, research and technology development, antimicrobial resistance, all these things, coordinated effort is needed in fact. Non-conventional ways of pathogen transfer, the progressive management pathway for aquaculture biosecurity. So, all these 12 issues have been specifically identified that need our attention for ensuring efficient and effective biosecurity protocols, and they should be followed properly. To achieve the full potential of aquaculture as an important aquatic food system, new approaches that build on existing knowledge and capacity at the enterprise, local, national and regional levels are required. The FAO Progressive Management Pathway for Aquaculture Biosecurity, PMPAB, is such an initiative founded on a risk-based value chain approach to address disease challenges. The PMPAB offers participating countries, no matter what their state of aquaculture development or biosecurity situation, an effective avenue to achieve aquatic biosecurity. In fact, ensuring biosecurity is essential in sustainability of any aquaculture system. A key component for a country to begin its implementation of PMPAB is the development of a national aquatic organism health strategy or regional aquatic organism health strategy, which helps to identify and address areas of biosecurity that need to be developed or strengthened. So, if we take actions at local level, regional level, or state level or country level, then that becomes more effective. Focusing on prevention, including of antimicrobial resistance, is a sign of mature industry. Use of clean seed combined with good husbandry practices and biosecurity strategies in a less stressful and healthier aquatic environment are basic actions. So, very cleanly defined that what we need to do. Effective biosecurity, good husbandry practices, improved genetics and high quality nutrition are important for producing healthy, nutritious and resilient farmed aquatic organisms. So, here you can see alternatives to reduce the need for antimicrobials in aquaculture that has been shown, that different aspects have been discussed, which you can go through. Innovative aquaculture system. Innovation in aquaculture systems is essential for any intensification or expansion of sustainable and resilient aquaculture. Innovation has already boosted aquaculture's growth in recent decades, contributing to global food security and socio-economic development that we have discussed in if you remember the new improvement in the breeding technologies, the new kind of inducing agents, improvement in culture systems, that RAS and cage culture and biofloc and aquaponics and many things that have been coming on lately. Key benefits of innovative practices include production optimization, better seed and feed selection, alleviation of resource limitations, food and type of foods and type of feeders. The development in food sector has also contributed significantly. Improved management, enhanced connections between stakeholders and the aquaculture value chain. In recent decades, technological improvements in aquaculture systems such as raceways and integrated food production have resulted in increased efficiency and adoption of best practices that we have discussed just now. Integrated food production systems such as aquaculture agriculture that we have talked separately, and integrated multi-trophic aquaculture IMTA are experiencing a renewal because of their ability to optimize resource uses, improve income and contribute to food security. Of course, if they are being undertaken scientifically, they become more efficient. By supporting the transfer and adoption of innovative systems and technologies, FAO provides solution to introduce aquaculture in regions where it did not exist before. For instance, producers are adopting innovative aquaculture systems in arid or desert ecosystems to overcome water scarcity. That is something amazing. You can see here earthen ponds for fish farming and irrigation in the district Ouargla, Algeria, which is an arid or desert zone. Pioneering technologies such as floating, submersible or platform based cage systems, remote sensing and remote operated machines are helping to overcome the challenges of offshore marine aquaculture that we have discussed in mariculture also. Aquafood solutions. Innovations in aquafeed have been crucial for the sustainable intensification and expansion of aquaculture in recent times. Fed aquaculture, most of them are fed now. Fed aquaculture still represents approximately 2/3 of global aquaculture. Commercial feeds have undergone significant technological advancements that we have discussed in my previous lecture as well, with precision formulation ensuring the correct levels of amino acids, micronutrients, including probiotics and prebiotics, leading to improved health, survival, growth and of the farmed aquatic species. In fact, now if you provide everything tailor-made for a particular species, then you are going to get very good result. Many small-scale producers with limited resources still depend on semi-commercial or farm-made aqua feeds produced with insufficient guidance for manufacturing sustainable and nutritionally balanced feeds. So, if we are able to identify the challenges, it becomes quite easy to address them. So, these things should be taken up at a small scale, at local level, regional level, state level, and then countries can take better appropriate measures for addressing those challenges. FAO is preparing a training manual on production and management of aqua feed for small scale farmers to disseminate widely the application of good feed production practices and on-farm feeding management. Advances in using alternative ingredients. Current research focuses on identifying alternative protein and energy ingredients to boost sustainable aquaculture growth, including from local alternative aquafeed ingredients that we have talked about when we have been discussing the feed ingredients. Then we talked about the alternative feed ingredients, what are non-conventional feed ingredients. Recent advancements include the increased use of plant-based ingredients as protein source. That is very important one. To reduce the reliance on wild-caught fish for aquafeed alongside supplementing amino acids, fatty acids and trace minerals. In fact, what we have done, we have started using plant-based materials, plant-based proteins for including in fish diets, and if there are certain limiting amino acids, we have started supplementing those essential amino acids in the plant-based diets. So, we are getting very good results. FAO and its partners are promoting alternative and sustainable feed ingredients such as algae, insect meals, artemia species and fish silage. There are enough options and plant-based ingredients were earlier not so much used because of the anti-nutritional factors also. So if you are identifying the challenges, address them and use them to make it more sustainable. The importance of partnerships for sustainable aquaculture, that is very necessary. The development of sustainable aquaculture does not exist in vacuum. Of course, we need different stakeholders to optimize the contribution of the aquaculture sector towards achieving the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Coordinated and accelerated actions are required among policymakers, farmers, farmers associations, food processors, traders, researchers, international technical and development institutions, and technical experts. A lot of networking is needed, coordination is needed, and if everything is done in a proper way, then of course we are going to get sustainable aquaculture for a long time. FAO takes on the role of convener to carry out this globally, bringing together disparate stakeholders from across the sector and related areas, because only together and with a shared vision on aquaculture development will the sector make its full contribution to the 2030 agenda for sustainable development and put blue transformation into action at the pace and scale that is being desired. These are some of the references that we have used. Thank you so much.